Hi, so I'm going to be talking about how I go about finding my inspiration and ideation process when starting new collections. So in this case, I'm going to be discussing some of my process for my capstone collection. So one of the first things that I like to do when I'm creating a new collection is I first find my inspiration, which in this case is biomimicry, and from there I like to just jot down a quick definition of what it is, so I can also have that in my mind. And when I'm explaining the concept, I can also explain to others what it is in case they don't already know. So from there, I like to go down into inspiration from biomimicry, which I have listed as shapes, forms, structures, and textures, which are all things that I knew that I wanted to focus on. And then below that, I just have more of pinpointed focus of things I wanted to work on. So for wovens, I had really wanted to focus more on animal um, and anything that has to do with animals and biomimicry coinciding. And then for knits, I originally wanted to focus on plants and algae and mimic those kind of stitch structures. So yes, and that was one of the first things I did when creating this concept. The next thing I did is just one of the pages from my sketchbook. Had taken some tin foil and kind of shaped it and crumpled it up to form a lichen interpretation, just something to kind of a quick exercise to get some ideas flowing, maybe for structures, for wovens, knits, or even prints. And then below that, I had taken some roving yarn that I had and put that in my sketchbook just as an idea of something that I might want to work with. Listed some things that I could use it for. Also sketched out some quick little structural ideas that I could do, um, just again to get some ideas flowing. Then below that is my Pinterest boards for capstone. So Pinterest is one of the main engines that I use when it comes to finding inspiration. There's just so many great images on there with different wovens or prints or animal patterns. Anything that you could really want to find, you can find on Pinterest if you want to be inspired. And I always become so inspired when I go on there. So this is one of the main things that I like to use when I'm creating a collection, just so I can reinterpret it in my own way and come up with some really fun things. Another thing that I also use Pinterest for is to find some weave draft patterns, because sometimes I might not find what I want in the book, and I could always find something new and different on Pinterest that I would like to use. So that's another good one for that as well. So then below that, and lastly, I like to use the Textile Eye, which is another search engine for trend forecasting. So I actually had come across this during an IFDA meeting and thought, oh wow, this is really interesting. So I also had signed up for this. This happened to be her spring 2021 Paris issue. So I really just like to see what colors are trending and how I can incorporate that. So I know I definitely have some of these blues, pinks, and creams in one of my first collections for capstone that I did. So it's just nice to see like different kind of lustrous yarns used and textures. Really inspiring. And same thing with this image down below as well. I was inspired by this one for my second wool collection, really inspired by the chair texture, so I tried to recreate that in some of my wovens as well, and really loving the natural colors as well, the natural color palette. So these are just some of the few things that I do when it comes to researching and ideating for a collection. So yes,